The San Diego Padres are better than you think. The Padres sit second in the NL West with a record of 32-33 for a win percentage of .492, 7 games back of the Dodgers at the top of the division. You're probably thinking the program's barking up the wrong tree on this one, considering the Padres just got swept in a 3-game set against the Angels. However, this actually reinforces what the program is suggesting, which is that the Padres play to the level of their opponent. Before we dive deeper into that idea, I first want to talk about what the program actually found within its calculations. So first of all, we can look at the ranking of all the teams' overall scores, just their overall score up to this point in the season. If you don't remember how overall scores are calculated, check out the Phillies video where I talk a little bit more in depth about it. What I didn't mention then is that overall scores are revolved around the number 100. So anything above 100 would be an above average overall score, and anything below would be a below average overall score. The Padres currently have a score of 103.91, which is good for 11th best in the league. But you might be wondering why they have a score above 100 when they have a losing record. And there's some interesting reasons for that. First of all, we can talk about the program's schedule difficulty ranking. I talked about how this list is formed in the Phillies video, but it essentially takes the overall score of each of a team's opponents throughout the entire season at the times they played them, and takes the average of all of those scores. So the Padres are also good for 11th on this ranking, with an average opponent score of 101.007, so just a tick above 101. Now, the Padres' schedule difficulty being middle of the pack at 101 doesn't really explain why the program and I believe the Padres are a good team. We have to go a step further and look at this same ranking, but if we only include the overall scores for the opponents in games that the Padres won. And when you look at that list, the Padres have a score of 103.24, good for second in the league, below, surprisingly, the Colorado Rockies. Now, going off on a little tangent here, it did surprise me that the Rockies were at the top of this list, but when you think about it, they do have very few wins to take the average of here, and of their very few wins, they got 2 from the Phillies, 2 from the Guardians, and 1 from the Dodgers, not to mention sweeps of the Rangers and the Padres, which are considered to be more medium teams, which would still count for quite a bit. But anyway, shifting back to the Padres, the fact that they're second on this ranking of difficulty of games won suggests 2 things to me. The first of which is that they could go a long way because they're beating really strong teams. The second of which is that they tend to play to the skill level of their opponent, and there's a lot of data to back up this claim. If we just focus in on the 32 games that the Padres have won, the program believes that 22 of those had opponents that were above average, at least at the time that they played them. Some of these are quite obvious, like the Dodgers. 8 games against the Dodgers, and the Padres managed to win 5 of them. There was also 4 games against the Braves that the Padres managed to win 3 of. There have been 6 games against the Cubs, and the Padres have won 4 of them. There have also been 3 games against the Brewers, which the Padres have won 2 of, and 3 games against the Royals, which the Padres have won 2 of. There are also a few teams that the Padres have gotten the best of that might not be considered great teams this season, but were playing pretty well at the time, like for instance the Blue Jays, who the Padres beat in a series right after the Blue Jays had won 2 out of 3 against a really good New York Yankees team, as well as the Cincinnati Reds, who the Padres beat in a series right after the Reds had won a few from the Phillies and the Rangers. And if you're looking for more evidence that the Padres play to the skill level of their opponents, you don't have to look too far to see that they got swept in a series by the Colorado Rockies, and just this week swept in a series by the Angels, both of which have been playing horribly all season long. The result is that playing to the skill level of your opponent doesn't bode you too well in the season, and you might end up with a mediocre record. But if the Padres can squeak their way into the playoffs, they can match up quite well against some teams like the Dodgers and the Braves, and they might have a chance to do something big this year. So that's why the program likes the Padres so far this season, and to be honest with you, I can't help but to agree with it. Let me know in the comments what you think of this take, and any other topics you'd like to know the program's decisions on. But until next time, let's see the Padres do something special.